Hi, and welcome to the Spiritist Society of Melbourne. My name is Thiago Cometri, and I'm a volunteer with this group. Tonight, I'm going to share my understanding to the topic An Extension of the Soul under the lens of Spiritism. So, I'm still a student of this philosophy, and what I'll be exposing here might be different from other members of this group, as well as other students of this philosophy. To talk about an extension of the soul, let's start with this question: what is soul? And this word has provoked innumerable controversies due to the lack of generally accepted meaning. The difference of viewpoints regarding to the nature of the soul come from the individual definition that each person attaches to this word. A perfect language, which is not the case of human language, but a perfect language in which each idea would be represented by its own specialized term, would avoid many arguments. With a single word for each thing, everything would be understood. So I will give here some different meanings for the same word before you go and explore the topic. But to give these different viewpoints and take one for a better understanding of the presentation. So some people understand soul as the principle of material organic life. They understand that each person has a soul, and that soul gives life for them. But for these people, their understanding is that when that person's die, a person dies, the soul goes just gone as well. So there is no continuity of that, and that is the reason why that person is alive. So when the organic life just sees, the soul just gone as well. This is a point of view from materialistic people. And we do respect that. I do respect that. And that's as I just introduced, I just contextualized it before. This is a point of view of how people understand, and we all should respect that. Another meaning for this word "so" is that other people understand "so" as the principle of intelligence. So the universal agent of which each being absorbs a portion. So there is a single source in the universe, which is this universal agent, what they call. And every being a human being, for example, or animals, or any being, just absorbs a portion and have a life. But once that being just pass away, that person that was observed initially just goes back to the main source, to the origin. So it loses its individuality and just goes back and become part of the whole again. So for a while it has some individuality, let's imagine. And it's quite interesting difference here, because it already separates two things here. So every being absorbs a portion of that. So it's something external. So two things here, which is different from a materialistic point of view, which you have that thing together, right? When the person just died, that soul just gone as well, because it's part of each other. They are totally connected, and there isn't any continuity after death. But for this second group of people that believe on this principle of intelligence, there is this separate thing because it comes from somewhere and returns to that same source. But the individuality of that just gone when it goes back to the whole and becomes just the source again. And this is a pantheistic viewpoint, and makes sense when you understand their concepts and how they explain things. But there is a third group of people that understand. Sorry, I just accelerate here. A third group of people that understand the soul as a moral being, distinctive from and independent of matter, and which retains its individuality after death. So this spiritualistic viewpoint is quite similar from pantheistic point of view, but this soul comes from somewhere, and when the life of a person or a being just sees, what sees is just the organic life. Let's consider a human being. A human being has the soul, and when that human being just passes away, what dies is only the organic life. It's just the body, the matter. And this separate thing, which is the moral being, it continues. It is still alive, and it goes back to the universe to continue its own path, its own life. Let's say this is the moral being that it's exposing here. So as I've said, three different meanings for the same word, which make things a bit complicated to understand what I'll be exposing here. So to put everyone on the same page, I'll take this spiritualistic point of view of the as a meaning for the word soul, and then we can understand what we'll be exposing here in this topic, an extension of the soul with this meaning in our minds. My presentation tonight will be based on this book, Changing Attitudes, written by Francisco de Espírito Santo Neto, dictated by the spirit named Hamed. As the title says, by changing our attitudes, it proposes us to perceive life in a different perspective. And based on the Spirit's book as well, which contains the principles of Spiritism, according to the teachings of spirits of high degree, transmitted through many mediums around the world, then received, coordinated, and codified by Allan Kardec, who is in the page here. Also, the Gospel according to Spiritism, another book of this philosophy, which contains the explanation of the moral maxims of Christ in concordance with Spiritism and their applications to the different circumstances of life. So, Spiritism, this spiritualist philosophy, says that we are individuals with the main objective of progressing spiritually towards perfection, and at the same time being co-creators. So let's explore this text a little bit. It's talking about individuality. So this philosophy says that we are a spirit or a soul, created simple and ignorant, with the main objective of progressing towards perfection. So this spirit, this soul, is, in my understanding, the moral being that the spiritualistic viewpoint of the word soul I've exposed it before. So it's individual, it's unique in the whole universe. We understand the universe is infinite. So imagine that every moral being, every spirit, or every soul, it's all the same thing, it's unique. Created simple and ignorant with the main objective to reach perfection. But how that happens? There is a concept that wasn't created by this philosophy, but is, in my point of view, is very well explained for us to understand this process here, which is reincarnation. That helps me to have to open my mind, to have an understanding of the and see a big picture of this entire process. So we as a spirit or as a soul created simple and ignorant through many reincarnation, many existences, we can develop ourselves. And that's the soul that inhabits this body. And when this body, the organic life of this body just ceases, just die, this soul, this spirit, just continues, goes back to the universe, which is the spirit world. And then in another reincarnation, another existence, it will continue its journey of evolution to reach perfection one day. So that's how I understand all this statement here and what the philosophy just explains us. At the same time, being co-creators, how we do this, how we progress, we definitely will contribute with the universe, with the whole creation. And doing that, we'll be co-creator, because everything that we create, all inventions, if you see the history in our world on Earth, you see many things that was discovered, and science just has signed off, just proving that through their methods. But it was already there, right? And we are co-creating things like that, helping others, helping the humanity, helping with the entire evolution of everyone and everything. So I just brought some concepts here. I will not be very deep on those concepts, but it's for us to have a better understanding. A spirit, or the soul, we understand by studying this philosophy, that is like a spark. And apart from that, we have the body, which is matter, right? And to have a connection between those two distinctive things, there is a third thing which calls perispirit. And this perispirit is like an envelope for the spirit, for the soul. And this perispirit will be connected cell by cell of that matter, of that body. It's not something that is just inside, but is connect to everywhere, everything. So the body, the matter, is just is like a vehicle that spirit will drive. All the actions, all the wills, everything that happens is because of that soul that is driving this body. Okay, we say inhabiting the body because it's connected. Okay, but we should understand here my objective with this image here is to understand that there are three separated things, distinctive things, connected, and the soul is the intelligence, is what will action against the body. So everything the body does is because of the spirit. So, and then when the body, which is the organic life, just ceases because of time span, lifespan of the organs and of the cells and everything, when just ceases, that spirit just, that the soul just goes away. It just leaves that body that has already gone, but the soul itself will continue. Everything, the union of the three, forms what is us, the human beings. So, in order for this prisoner, which is the spirit, the soul, to live, move about, and even conceive of the illusion of freedom, the body must be sound, of good disposition and vigorous. I got this from the Gospel according to Spiritism, and this tells us about responsibility, because we need to care of our spirit, our soul, which is ourselves, due to our evolution process and our purpose of life. But we also need to care for our body, which is the instrument, the vehicle used by our soul for this existence. So we was given this body for our journey of evolution, right? Then we as a spirit, as a soul, are responsible for this body, which is our instrument, is the resource we have to go through this existence. And we do services for our cars every year, for example, right? Because we don't want to have surprise. But what about this other vehicle here? What about our body? Are we doing health checkups? Are we doing health checks every year? Just to ensure that is everything okay? We're not getting surprised? That's important. We should do that, aiming to prolonging our stay in this existence, to have chance enough to progress as much as we can. This body is the extension, is an extension of our soul. We need to care about it. In the Middle Age, people used to believe that if they macerated and flagellated themselves, it was a reason for joy and in the fearful of God and candidates to the kingdom of heaven. These absurd beliefs made people believe that the more the body suffered and the deeper the pains to haunt it, the more the spirit would evolve, reaching evolutionary pinnacles. So we know this from the history of our civilization. In the past, the church just has condemned a lot of people for wrongdoings, and they have committed sins, and they had to punish themselves to be absorbed, let's say, absolved. So to be forgive. Why this action? In my point of view, it makes no sense. And according to Hamad, Our bodies are not responsible for intentions, emotions, and feelings that resonate in our acts and attitudes. We, souls in learning and educational process, are responsible for that. As I said before, our soul, our spirit, which is driving, inhabiting this body, is responsible for all the actions, attitudes, because that's the moral being, the intelligence that is actually using this body. Our thoughts determine our lives, and consequently, they are the ones to model our bodies. So we are the physical product of our spiritual self. It means how are your mind? How is your spirit, your soul? In which degree of this journey of evolution is it? How is the feelings? How is the emotions? How do you feel that? And how do you expose that through your body? How do you express that? And what are you doing with everything? I'll give an example about a person. Let's assume this person here in the picture, this man, is 35 years old, and he has many health issues. He just got bad news from his doctor, and they're having a conversation, and he's just reflecting and trying to understand what happened with his body. But imagine that this person for the last 10 years will focused and only thinking of his job. Let's just assume that. And having junk foods and just doing everything for his own wishes of make money and thinking of his career. And he didn't care about his health. He didn't do any exercise, always having junk food and even not doing the health checks, yearly health checks, and many other attitudes like this. So one day we always practice that, we will have a surprise. And that's the surprise he is having in this example. But what we cannot do and what we need to keep in mind is that our body is not responsible for that. It's not because our body is having some issues that is its responsibilities. It's a problem of our body. We provoked that, right? It's our body's just having the consequences of our attitudes. So don't castigate your body due to failings which your free will can induce you to commit, and for which it's just as responsible as is the badly driven horse for the accidents it caused. If you're going through health issues and the pain of those health issues, but to be honest, everything comes from the soul and just reflecting this body in this vehicle, which is just matter, which is always perfect. It's a creation from the Supreme Intelligence that created everything, has created everything. And because of that, we assume that's perfect. But the expressions and the way that soul, the spirit that is connected to that body, express is the case. And even that it's something very delicate to speak and to talk, always has a reason. because nothing happens without a reason, just by chance. There is a reason. Sometimes it's very hard for us to understand and to look the cause, to find the cause. But is all the answers is inside us. What this philosophy says is and point us to discover ourselves, to understand who we are. And when I say who and ourselves, I'm talking about that soul, that spirit that came, is inhabiting this body, having this existence, and then when the body just died, this same spirit soul will continue. It goes to the universe and will reincarnate again and have a new existence and it will continue with the process of evolution. So this thing is what we are. So illness is compound of many subjects: social, environmental, occupational, spiritual, financial, emotional, intellectual, physical, many others topics as well. I'm just touching this spiritual field here, just giving a little bit to contribute with our understanding for our wellness. So, as I've said about our spirit in our bodies, body and soul or spirit together in the evolution service. This is what nature demands. Otherwise, that would be differently. But that's how we understand and what we see and how it is. Our physical bodies are not only a useful vehicle, but the densest part of our souls. It's an extension of our souls. Is the densest part of it. So we cannot possibly separate it from ourselves. It's part of us. Even though the dense matter remains on Earth when we just ended the death process, when we just pass away, even this body remaining here, and our soul is still continuous. And thinking of that process of evolution, it's through this body that we will have our sensations, such as our mother's hug, all the feelings, emotions, the kisses, is how we perceive everything. Our friend's tender touch is through the body that was given to us to go through this existence. And if you think of everything of our lives, everything that we have gone through since we understand ourselves in this existence, we start to understanding the importance of our body and why we should take care of it, right? Self-awareness. So it's also through the body that we can identify in ourselves the attitudes we need to change in order to keep aligned with the objective of our soul and this existence, which is to learn and progress. So for us to have self-awareness, to understand who we are, to look for our improvement points, for our self-improvement, our inner transformation, we need this body. Because through this, other than those good feelings that I just shown before, we go through preoccupations, problems, relationship problems, issues, family, friends, whatever. And we can, through all these different situations, also understand ourselves and do a summary at the end of the day. Before I go bed, we can think of our day, our life, and our health, everything. How we are handling with everything, how we are conducting this life, this existence. If you understand, as myself, that this is not just this life, it continues, could exist something beyond, then you should give more value to all these points. So to finalize, Hamad finished saying that divine law does not require us to suffer in order to evolve and to grow. It only asks us to love each other more and more. Let's take care of our body and accept it as it is. It's the divine instrument given to us to learn and love. Hope this presentation has helped you to understand some questions, or even to open your mind and your eyes for different, to see life and perceive life in a different, from a different perspective. Thank you very much for watching.